Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going.
Today we have predictions for 6 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Oklahoma City Thunder and Orlando Magic. This one between the Magic and the Thunder has all the makings of a slugfest, and I'm here for it. You've got OKC cruising in with a 20-6 record, flexing their defensive muscles all over the league. On the flip side, Orlando's managed to stay afloat even with big names like Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner sidelined, rocking a respectable 17-11 mark. This matchup has layers, so let's peel M back and see what's cooking. OKC's defense has been their bread and butter this season, and man, it's been smothering. They're holding teams to a league best 103.5 points per game while locking down shooters like their lives depend on it, lowest field goal percentage, lowest three-point percentage, and forcing turnovers left and right. In their last 10 games, they've dialed it up even further, choking teams to just 102.8 points a night on 42.8% shooting. That's clamps. But don't sleep on their offense. The Thunder rank 10th in points per game, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the engine driving this squad. The dude is putting up 30.3 a game on better than 50% shooting, night in and night out. He's a walking bucket who keeps OKC in every single game, even with some injury setbacks on the roster. That said, if the Thunder have a kryptonite, it's on the glass. They're dead last in defensive rebounding, and if they don't clean that up, it's going to bite them sooner or later. Now, Orlando's no pushover, especially on defense. They're right up there with OKC, allowing the fewest points per game this season. Coach Jamal Mosley's squad knows how to slow the tempo, limit shot attempts, and frustrate opponents. But their Achilles heel is turnovers. They've been coughing it up way too often, and against a team like the Thunder that feasts on mistakes, that's a recipe for disaster. Still, give credit where it's due. Jalen Suggs has been balling lately, averaging nearly 19 points a game in December and dropping a cool 32 in the NBA Cup semis against the Bucks. If Suggs can stay hot, he might just give Orlando the spark they need to keep this one interesting. But without Banchero and Wagner, the Magic's margin for error is razor-thin. Now, both teams are coming off tough L's. OKC got smacked around by the Bucks in the NBA Cup final, where they just fell apart in the second half. Only 31 points after halftime? That's brutal. The question is, do they bounce back with fire, or do they let that loss linger? Orlando, meanwhile, just took their first home loss of the season against the Knicks. Not exactly a confidence booster, but they've shown they can hang with heavyweights, snagging wins against teams like the Lakers and Suns earlier this year. So what's the move here? I'm not touching a winner with a 10-foot pole. Too many variables, too much unpredictability. But if there's one thing I feel good about, it's defense ruling the day. Orlando's got to dig in and make this ugly if they want a shot, and that's why I'm leaning toward their total points staying under 103.5. It's a safer play and one that aligns with how this game should unfold, a gritty, low-scoring grind where every possession feels like a playoff battle. This one's got drama written all over it, but for my money, it's a defensive chess match that'll keep us guessing until the final buzzer. Play it smart and keep an eye on Orlando's total points stay under.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Golden State Warriors and Memphis Grizzlies. All right, Hoops fans, buckle up because we've got a showdown on the hardwood that's bound to deliver some fireworks. The Golden State Warriors are rolling into Memphis to square off against the Grizzlies, and let me tell you, this matchup is dripping with drama and intensity. These two teams have built quite the rivalry, and with the way things are shaping up, this one's got "must watch" written all over it. Let's start with the Warriors. This squad kicked off the season looking like a team that could hang another banner in the rafters, but lately, it's been a roller coaster and not the fun kind. They've dropped 8 of their last 10, and consistency has been their Achilles heel. One night, they're taking care of business against teams like the Timberwolves, and the next, they're fumbling opportunities. The schedule hasn't exactly been kind to them either, with tight games against tough opponents, but at some point, they've got to start closing out those nail-biters. Now, Golden State did make an intriguing move recently, bringing in Dennis Schroeder to run alongside Steph Curry. This could be a game changer. Schroeder adds a new wrinkle to their offense, a different look that might help free up Curry and give defenses fits. It's been a while since the Warriors have had this kind of depth at the guard spot, and Schroeder's ability to handle the rock and create could be the spark they need to get back on track. On the flip side, the Grizzlies are cruising. Sitting at 18-9 and locking down the second spot in the West, Memphis has been all about steady, efficient basketball. They've won 8 of their last 10, and when they're at home, they're almost unbeatable. That 12-3 record in Memphis? It's no fluke. These guys thrive in front of their crowd, feeding off the energy and locking teams down. But it's not all smooth sailing for the Grizz. They're missing Marcus Smart, and there's a good chance Ja Morant won't suit up either. That's a big hit to their lineup, and while they've shown they can hold their own without key players, this is a Warriors team that's been in the trenches lately and knows how to battle. The Grizzlies are also coming off a loss to the Lakers, a game where they were the favorites but couldn't seal the deal. This sets up a classic bounce-back spot for them, and you know they'll be looking to defend their turf. When these two squads faced off last month, it was Golden State who walked away with the win, making it 3 straight victories against Memphis. That's a mental edge that can't be ignored. Sometimes, one team just knows how to get under the other's skin, and that might be the case here. Even with the Warriors' recent struggles, they've shown they can hang in there against top-tier competition. Their last few games have been razor-thin, with spreads under 5 points in most matchups, and they've covered in 5 of their past 8. Meanwhile, Memphis has had a softer schedule, racking up wins against teams they were expected to beat. This game is going to be a grind. Memphis will try to control the tempo and dominate the boards, but Golden State's experience and firepower make them a dangerous underdog. With Curry leading the charge and Schroeder giving them a fresh dimension, I think the Warriors have what it takes to make this one interesting. They've got the momentum in this rivalry, and I'm banking on them to cover the 4-point spread. Don't be surprised if they pull off the outright win either. Give me the Warriors and the points in what's shaping up to be a thriller. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the New York Knicks and Minnesota Timberwolves. The New York Knicks, boasting a solid 16-10 record, are set to visit the Minnesota Timberwolves, who sit at 14-11, for what's shaping up to be a barn burner at the Target Center. Both squads are gunning to cement their playoff credentials, and while they're on similar trajectories, their paths couldn't be more different. The Knicks bring the heat with an explosive offense, while the Timberwolves are locking teams down with a defense-first approach. New York is all about lighting it up. Sitting third in the East, they're dropping 116.4 points per game, powered by the steady hand and smooth scoring touch of Jalen Brunson. Add Karl-Anthony Towns to the mix, fresh off that blockbuster offseason deal, and you've got a guy who can cook from the perimeter or dominate in the paint. And let's not sleep on their deep ball game. Shooting 39.4% from beyond the arc keeps defenses scrambling. But here's the catch, the Knicks haven't exactly been consistent. They've covered the spread just once in their last 4 outings, and while they feasted on a banged-up Orlando Magic recently, they've also stumbled against teams like the Hawks and Pistons. To top it off, their recent wins have come against some of the league's bottom feeders, so their true form is still a bit of a question mark. Minnesota, meanwhile, is holding it down at home with an 8-4 record. They're the epitome of a defensive juggernaut, allowing just 105.6 points per game, among the league's elite. Anthony Edwards has leaped, putting up a cool 26.2 points a night and owning the spotlight as this team's go-to guy. He's got help, too. Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert anchor the defensive side, making life miserable for opposing offenses while crashing the boards with authority. The Timberwolves are rolling, winning 6 of their last 7 games and covering the spread in 5 of those. Their defense-driven, grinded-out style tends to keep games low-scoring and tight, which has been money for bettors hitting the under. This matchup's got some extra juice thanks to the off-season blockbuster that sent towns packing to New York. Julius Randle, now squaring off against his old squad, won't need any extra motivation. Expect playoff-level intensity here. This one's personal. Randle's ability to score from everywhere and Towns' knack for stretching defenses are going to be pivotal. Minnesota's success hinges on keeping Brunson in check, because if he starts orchestrating like a maestro, the Knicks could be tough to slow down. On the flip side, the Knicks will need to put the clamps on Edwards and make the Wolves earn every bucket. I see this game being a nail-biter. Minnesota's defensive edge at home is real, but New York's firepower can't be overlooked. The Knicks' up-and-down nature worries me, but in a game with this much on the line, I think they show up. If I'm putting my chips on something, I'd roll with the Knicks to cover that 3-point spread. But my favorite play? Karl Anthony Towns dropped over 22.5 points. Gobert just doesn't have the quickness to keep up with KT's versatility, and you better believe Towns will be fired up to torch his old team. This game is shaping up to be a clash of styles and a battle of wills. With playoff vibes and plenty of pride on the line, we're in for an absolute treat in Minneapolis. Buckle up, this one's going to be electric. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Los Angeles Clippers and Dallas Mavericks. We've got a spicy West Coast showdown on tap with the Los Angeles Clippers heading into Dallas to take on the Mavericks. This game has all the ingredients for a thriller, with both teams showcasing strong performances recently and looking to make a statement in the ultra-competitive Western Conference. Let's dig into why this one's worth staying up for. The Clippers come into this matchup with a 15-12 record and an impressive 16-10-1 ATS. This team has quietly been one of the league's better defensive squads, which is surprising given that James Harden leads the charge. Usually, you don't think defense when you hear his name, but this group has been locked in lately, holding opponents to just 107.8 points per game. Offensively, they're no slouches either, averaging 109.2 points per game, and they're coming off a monster performance where they dropped 144 points on the Utah Jazz. Harden was cooking in that one, and Norman Powell continues to be a bucket off the bench. Ivica Zubac holds things down in the paint, and while Kawhi Leonard's return is still uncertain, the Clippers have been finding ways to stay competitive and cover spreads. On the Mavericks side, this team is rolling with a 17-9 record and has been one of the most exciting squads to watch. They've picked up right where they left off last season, winning 8 of their last 9 games. Luka Doncic has been his usual MVP-level self, orchestrating the offense and putting up ridiculous numbers. Kyrie Irving has been equally electric, making this backcourt one of the toughest to defend in the league. However, Luka and Jaden Hardy are already ruled out for this game, and Kyrie's status is still up in the air due to a shoulder issue. That's a massive blow for Dallas, especially given how much they rely on their dynamic duo to carry the scoring load. Both teams are coming off explosive offensive outings, with the Mavericks putting up 143 points against the Warriors in their last game. When you've got two teams this hot, it's hard to pick a side, but here's where it gets interesting. The Mavericks are favored by 6.5 points, even with their injury concerns. That's a lot of points to lay against a Clippers team that's been covering spreads all season. The Clippers have been road warriors and have shown they can hang with anyone, but Dallas at home is no joke. Even without Luka and potentially Kyrie, the Mavericks supporting cast has stepped up when needed. Still, with how solid the Clippers have been defensively and their ability to generate offense even in tough matchups, I think they're the play here. This one's going to be tight. I'd lean toward the Mavericks pulling out a win at home, but I'm taking the Clippers to cover the 6.5 point spread. They've proven all season that they can keep games close, and with the Mavs missing key pieces, this feels like a spot where LA can make some noise. Keep an eye on that injury report, though it could shift the balance completely. The fifth prediction for today is for a game between the Indiana Pacers and Phoenix Suns. This matchup between the Phoenix Suns and Indiana Pacers has all the makings of a hoops thriller. Let's break it down like we're courtside, shall we? The Suns are finally starting to flex like the powerhouse squad everyone hyped them up to be. They've got 3 straight WS at home, and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are putting on a show. Booker's been lighting it up right from tip-off, and Durant's silky smooth game makes defenders look like they're playing in slow motion. Even without Bradley Beal in the mix, this Suns offense is cooking. The ball movement is crisp, the scoring is balanced, and it feels like they're hitting their stride. Here's where it gets tricky though. Phoenix hasn't been a safe bet against the spread, just 9-16 on the season. They're winning games, but letting opponents stick around. Case in point, their win over Portland. They handled business, but didn't cover as heavy favorites. That inconsistency has been a red flag, and it's tough to trust them to blow teams out, even at home. Now let's talk about the Pacers. They're rolling into this one as underdogs, but don't sleep on them. They've taken 3 of their last 4 games, including road dubs over the Bulls and Sixers. Sure, Chicago's defense has been like Swiss cheese, and Philly's dealing with its own drama, but wins are wins. Indiana's shown they've got the fight to steal games, even when the odds aren't in their favor. Tyrese Haliburton? Absolute maestro. He's out here dropping dimes like he's leading a clinic, and his court vision is second to none. Pair that with scoring threats like Pascal Siakam. Yeah, he's been a force, and you've got an offense that can run up the scoreboard in a hurry. The problem? Their defense is a glaring issue. They're giving up a whopping 118.5 points per game on the road. You can't win games consistently when you're gifting buckets like that. This game's going to be all about who controls the tempo. Indiana thrives in chaos. They want to turn this into a track meet, pushing the pace and firing at will. Phoenix, on the other hand, will try to slow it down, lean on their stars, and grind things out in the half court. If the Suns can lock down defensively and keep the Pacers out of transition, it's their game to lose. But if Haliburton starts running the show and gets Indiana into their rhythm, watch out. This one could get dicey. My gut says Phoenix gets the win. Booker and Durant are just too lethal, and at home, they're a different animal. But covering the spread? That's a tougher call. Indiana's been scrappy, and their offense is dangerous enough to keep this competitive. I'm leaning toward the Pacers to cover the 7-point line. This could turn into a high-scoring back and forth, and while I expect the Suns to protect their house, don't be surprised if Indiana makes them sweat a little. The 6th prediction for today is for a game between the Los Angeles Lakers and Sacramento Kings. The Lakers and Kings are gearing up for a West Coast clash that should be nothing short of electric. Both squads are hustling for better playoff seeding in the loaded Western Conference, and this matchup could set the tone for their next stretch of games. It's a showdown between 2 teams that can dazzle on their best days, but haven't exactly been a picture of consistency. Let's start with the Lakers. They've had their ups and downs this season, but Anthony Davis is keeping the engine running. AD has been putting up monster numbers, averaging 27.8 points and 11.2 boards a game. His performance against the Grizzlies, dropping a casual 40-piece, reminded everyone what he's capable of when he's locked in. LeBron James is back in the fold, and even at this stage of his career, you can't overlook his ability to take over a game. The problem? The Lakers' defense has been shaky at best. Giving up 114.8 points a night isn't exactly a recipe for success, especially against a team like Sacramento that can light up the scoreboard. Speaking of the Kings, they've been cooking offensively. De'Aaron Fox is a straight bucket, averaging over 26 a game and pushing the tempo like it's nobody's business. Then there's Domantas Sabonis, who's been an absolute workhorse in the paint and a facilitator when needed. He's the kind of player who can quietly pile up a triple-double, just like he did when these 2 teams met earlier this season. The Kings are averaging 116.7 points per game, and when they're rolling, they're a nightmare to defend. But here's the catch, they're not exactly locking anyone down on defense either. Giving up nearly 114 points per game puts them in the same boat as the Lakers when it comes to defensive issues. This game might come down to who can capitalize on the other team's flaws. If AD dominates the paint and the Lakers get anything resembling perimeter defense, they've got a shot. But let's be real, Sacramento's offense has been on another level lately. They've been putting up video game numbers, 140 against the Spurs, 141 on the Jazz, and even 129 in a tight one against Denver. That kind of firepower is tough to match, especially when your defense isn't exactly known for locking people up. The Kings do have the home court advantage, and that's not something to ignore. They play with a different energy at home, and the crowd in Sacramento has been fired up lately. The Lakers, on the other hand, are still figuring out how to string together consistent performances. They've only won 4 of their last 10, and while their win against Memphis was solid, they'll need to bring that same intensity if they want to leave Sacramento with a dub. Personally, I think the Kings have the edge here. Their offense is humming, and as much as I respect AD and LeBron, the Lakers haven't shown enough defensive chops to make me confident they can slow down this Sacramento squad. Sure, Davis might have a big night, but unless the Lakers' defense steps up in a big way, I see the Kings getting it done and covering the spread. This one's shaping up to be a fun, high-scoring battle, but I'm rolling with Sacramento to protect the home court.